Hello! In this video episode we will look at the seventh chord in diatonic harmony. Traditional theory of harmony provides a set of rules for the proper preparation and resolution of the dissonant seventh chordal function. In the Schillinger system of musical composition, and more specifically in the book on special theory of harmony, the handling of the seventh is related to the use of root cycles in diatonic harmony. We will discuss the ideal case with positive root cycles and aspects of chord progressions containing seventh chords. This video demonstrates techniques for writing diatonic harmony and dealing with the dissonant seventh. Let's start with the textbook case in traditional theory of harmony. We are in the domain of diatonic harmony, which means we use chords in thirds. In the score there is a seventh chord, here the D minor 7 in the scale of C major. This four-part chord contains chordal functions 1, 3, 5 and 7, root, third, fifth and seventh. The seventh, here the pitch C in the D minor chord, forms a dissonant interval with the root. The dissonant seventh interval needs careful treatment. This implies preparation and resolution. Preparation of the dissonant chordal function 7 is achieved by sustaining the previous note, which has a consonant chordal function, so 1, 3 or 5. Resolution requires a descending step into a consonant interval while using a strong chord progression. By the way, if you have problems with some of the terminology, you may want to watch the movie on diatonic harmony nomenclature in the Schillinger system of musical composition. Respecting the rules for preparation of the seventh, we get the three solutions shown here. We must prepare the dissonant seventh by sustaining the pitch C from the previous chord where it has a consonant chordal function 1, 3 or 5. In the first case we start with C as the fifth, so the chord is the F major triad, an S5. The chord progression therefore is F major to D minor 7th, corresponding to the positive root cycle R3, a descending third. Similarly, when we start with triad S5, where C is either the third or the fifth of the chord, we get the two other solutions. These chord progressions are A minor to D minor 7th, which corresponds to a root cycle R5, a descending fifth, or going from C to D minor 7th, which is the root cycle R7, a descending seventh or equivalently an ascending second. This leads to the conclusion that correct preparation of the seventh with a triad corresponds to diatonic positive root cycles in the Schillinger system of musical composition. Let's listen to an audio rendering of these chord progressions. In the previous slide, all chords were in root position. Here we show the preparation of inverted seventh chords, and shown are the first inversion position, which is the S6-5 with the third in the bass, and the second inversion position, the S4-3 with the fifth in the bass. Once again, the dissonant pitch is sustained from a consonant chordal function 1, 3 or 5 in the previous chord. And again, for all six cases, proper preparation of the seventh implies positive root cycles. Note the leap into the second inversion position, for example, the A minor 7th with the E in the bass. Schillinger is more liberal in this treatment than, for example, Schoenberg, who warns against this approach in his textbook on the theory of harmony. Not all cases are shown here. We may also derive the voice leading for the third inversion of the 7th chord with the dissonant 7 in the bass, or using inverted triads as starting point. Next, let's consider the resolution of the dissonant 7th. The dissonant pitch C must move stepwise down into a consonant function 1, 3 or 5. This is shown here as 3 chord progressions where the D minor 7th chord resolves into the S5 triads, the B diminished chord, the G major, or the E minor chord respectively. Note the doubling of the leading tone pitch B in the B diminished chord and the exact parallel triads when going from D minor 7 to E minor. Although suboptimal, these are potential solutions in the Schillinger system, whereas Schoenberg would prohibit or at least warn against such voice leading. The voice leading might be improved by considering inverted positions for either the 7th chord or the triad, which is however a case not shown here. So, resolution of a dissonant 7th chord also leads to strong chord progressions with positive root cycles. This concludes the ideal case for handling the dissonant chordal function 7 with the 7th chord in between two triads. The S5, S7 to S5 chord progression involves two positive diatonic root cycles. A less than optimal preparation of the 7 is obtained when using negative root cycles. Here we see how the dissonant 7 is reached through either ascending or descending stepwise motion from the previous consonant function 1, 3 or 5. The stepwise approach is considered acceptable as the next best preparation of the 7th. However, when using negative root cycles, we will not get a descending stepwise resolution of the 7th. You may want to check that. In another episode, we saw how negative root cycles lead to weak, unstable chord progressions. Now we also learn that they are poor at handling dissonant intervals in a diatonic context. This example shows that it is possible to connect 7 chords while respecting the rules for preparation and resolution of the chordal function 7. The example opens and closes with 2 triads. The 7th is prepared as a sustained consonant function and resolves as a descending step. We use chords in inversion position and positive root cycles only. Here R7, R7 plus R3. The next example shows the connection of a series of S7 chord structures. This is the well-known 1-6-4-5-1 tonal cadence in popular music and jazz standards. All 7ths are handled correctly, and again we see positive root cycles only, with a strong dominant tonic closing. This turnaround chord progression has been used as the intro of the leader music to this video. In this example, we see a longer series of 7 chords, all connected through positive root cycles, Still, there is correct preparation and resolution of the sevenths. Note that the resulting voice leading yields an overall descending trend in the individual parts. They are moving into a lower register. However, there is a trick to interrupt this trend. The technique is demonstrated in this example. It involves the exchange of two adjacent chordal functions. So, we may swap the root and third, the 3 and 5, or the 5 and 7, each pair forming a consonant interval. One of the voices may leap to another octave. None of the parts will overlap, which is considered good voice leading. It is the previous example transposed to a different key, with the descending trend interrupted several times. This improves the potential for orchestration, as instruments may continue to play in a specific suitable register. Here's another example of a longer series of S7 chord structures, with swapping of adjacent chordal functions. Note the double swap in measure 12-13 and the use of a root cycle R0, which means that the chord root is constant, but the voicing or chord position changes. All dissonant sevenths are handled correctly regarding their preparation and resolution. There are two weak voice leading spots, which are the doubtful leap to the second inversion chord A minor 7 with E in the bass in measure 6, and the poor parallel triads in the upper parts in measure 8-9. The ascending octave leap of the 7, the pitch B flat in measure 9-10, followed by the step in the opposite direction is considered acceptable. This chord progression has also been incorporated in the leader music to this video as a staccato string section background. Let's return to the situation where we have negative root cycles in the chord progression. In this example, they are used twice as a preparation of the seventh. In the first case, measure 4-5, the R-3 yields an acceptable descending step D sharp to C sharp into the seventh. The second case, however, measure 6-7 for R-7, has the ascending leap B to E into the seventh, which is the most doubtful voice leading, but still better than the absolutely forbidden descending leap into the seventh. The chord progression consists of a mix of S5 triads and seventh chords. All resolutions of the seventh are okay. Let's make things worse by introducing more negative root cycles in the harmonic progression. There is a series of 3 negative root cycles in measures 4-7, and again we see a poor ascending leap into the seventh in measure 2-3. The resolutions of the sevenths are correct since they involve positive root cycles. There is one delayed resolution of the chordal function 7, the pitch A in the B flat major 7 chord in measure 5. In fact, we find a sort of resolution by descending leap to F in measure 9. Listen to this audio example experience the unstable, somewhat floating harmonies, get a feel for the weak voice leading and compare this with other examples. Well, we may try and improve this situation. We took out the negative root cycles and replaced them with positive root cycles. The adjacent chordal function exchange technique includes the swapping of 5 and 7 in measure 9 to 10 with the descending stepwise resolution D to C in part 2 from the top in measure 10 to 11. The example closes with the first inversion position of the tonic degree triad B-flat. Compare the improved harmonic progression with the previous example. This brings us to the conclusion of this tutorial. In summary, what have we learned? First, the correct preparation and resolution of the dissonant chordal function 7 in 7th chord structures in diatonic harmony. Second, the link between handling of the 7th and the use of positive or negative root cycles in the Schillinger system. And third, the exchange of adjacent chordal function technique for interrupting the descending trend and improve voice leading. How can we apply these 7th chord settings in practical situations? Well, we may use them as a harmonic background, for example for strings, woodwinds, brass or synthesizer pads, behind a pop music melody or a jazz solo improvisation. Be aware though that the long, sustained notes may yield monotony. It is better to use these settings as the starting point as the source material for an instrumental form with more interesting parts. The leader music contains an example. However, that subject lies outside the scope of this tutorial. We've reached the end of this movie. As a next step, you may want to visit my website, study the special theory of harmony from the Schillinger system, watch the Diatonic Harmony Nomenclature YouTube movie, subscribe to my channel, or take online lessons. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.